Nuland draws red lines for Russia. Russia has been warned of more costs if they continue to violate the Minsk ceasefire. The comments came from US Assistant Secretary Victoria Nuland, who spoke at a forum in Kyiv.
With regard to peace and security and the Minsk process and the future of Crimea, we've been very clear that sanctions will stay in place until Minsk is fully implemented. If and when Minsk is fully implemented, including return of Ukraine's sovereignty of its border, we can begin to roll back some sanctions. But if Minsk is further violated, there will be more costs, and we will push with our European partners for that. And with regard to Crimea, sanctions stay in place on Crimea unless and until its sovereignty is returned to Ukraine.
Nuland stressed the importance of arms withdrawal and the organisation of free and fair elections in line with Ukrainian law.
The most important thing now is to take this moment of relative quiet and turn it into a full withdrawal of weapons. We are 6 months behind. What's happened now was supposed to happen in the first couple of days of Minsk. We now need to see those weapons pulled back verifiably, and we need to move on to a real election in the Donbass under Ukrainian law and with full OSCE verification.
In line with the Minsk blueprint, President Petro Poroshenko announced Kyiv will go ahead with local elections in Ukraine on October 25th, in a step intended to result in stronger powers being delegated to the regions. Russian-backed forces say they will hold their own elections. Speaking at the forum, representatives from the Organisation for Security and Cooperation in Europe said that international observers had seen a significant build-up of military equipment in the possession of Russian-backed militants.
On the ground, it's very difficult to define it. We see fighters who define themselves Russians, who deny having formal links with the Russian armed forces. We see amounts of equipment compared to what we saw at the beginning of the crisis. There is much more military equipment that is coming from somewhere.
International observers have also pointed out that the weapons being used by the so-called separatists are the same as the weapons being used by the Russian army, and that someone is continuing to provide them with weapons and ammunition.
Because we have no significant access to the border, we have never really actually seen this equipment physically crossing the border, but we see numbers of equipment present in that area that are large, that are consistent with the types of equipment that the Soviet forces have, the Russian forces have, and therefore we came to the conclusion that there is some kind of continuing. We see presence of large amounts of ammunition. So there is a continuing strengthening of the capacity of the fighters on that side.
Combined Russian separatist forces have repeatedly violated a month-old ceasefire in eastern Ukraine.